The House Office of Congressional Ethics has found substantial reason to believe that Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez likely violated ethics laws given her 2021 Met Gala appearance. Now, according to House documents released on Thursday, AOC may have accepted impermissible gifts associated with her attendance at the Met Gala in 2021.
The report says that Representative Ocasio-Cortez received a series of goods and services which she did not pay for until the Office of Congressional Ethics opened their review of the matter. According to AOC spokesperson Lauren Hitt, Ocasio-Cortez acknowledged these tardy payments, but she didn't think they constituted a House violation. Hitt said in a statement, the Congresswoman finds these delays unacceptable, and she has taken several steps to ensure nothing of this nature will happen again, Forbes reports.
The investigation opened in February 2022 and voted in June to refer the inquiry to the bipartisan House Committee on Ethics, which is continuing to investigate the situation. So it was, the clothes, the shoes, etc., which she eventually did pay back, but she hadn't paid them up front, so they were saying that. And then also, the ticket to the event itself cost $35,000. Now, this is interesting how this works. So she would be allowed to, if the organizing committee of the event invites you, that does not violate, according to the House ethics rules, she's allowed to go. But she was invited not technically by the Met, but by Vogue. She was a guest of Vogue, the magazine. But they decided that, they being the investigators, because Vogue and its longtime editorial director, I'm reading from the New York Times, Anna Wintour, are deeply involved in organizing the event, they said it was close enough. So what do you make of all this, Batya? Look, on one hand, I don't know if this is the most serious violation of ethics ever propagated. The rules, frankly, sound kind of confusing, and I could understand a newer member of Congress, I have to pay. Okay, I'll pay. She did pay it. On the other hand, I didn't like the optics of the event in and of itself. This was still at a time where there were widespread COVID restrictions, including on the staff. The behind-the-scenes people at the Met are all masked, and she's there, glamorous. This person who's crusading against the wealthy and the elite, supposedly, but she's, absolutely one of them. And I think at least her cultural politics reflect that. But at the end of the day, okay, the magazine editor who sits on the board of this thing invited her to come. Oh, well. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm also sort of mind divided about this. On the one hand, as an ethics violation for a member of Congress, accepting a $35,000 gift from Anna Wintour, the Met Gala, this huge institution in a state that she represents, that seems to me much worse than the potential ethical violation of renting a dress from a private owner. But on a literal level, the ethical violation of not paying small business owners for their services, including hair and makeup people, my God, how much do they make already? I mean, actually, we know how much these ones made, actually quite a lot. But, to be a person in the service industry and to lay out a service and not get paid for it, there was something to me that was so horrifying about that, and the kind of the just getting a window into somebody trying to not pay a hairdresser. There's something about that really horrified and shocked me. And she says it was a mistake, but even to make a mistake at that level, if you are a crusader on behalf of the downtrodden, your number one thing that you should be doing is making sure that people who give you services get paid on time. That's really important. I mean, it's really important in my religion, but it's also just a basic thing. Somebody put their hands on you and gave you an amazing service. She clearly felt that she looked so beautiful that night, and then she sort of tried to weasel out of paying for it, or didn't make sure that it was, maybe she thought that it was included in some sort of larger, package or some sort, but, you should be really careful about knowing, making sure people get paid. So I think that bothered me a lot more, although the idea that this is some sort of congressional ethics thing, I don't know how worried I am about her having accepted a $300 gift from a hairdresser, although it wasn't a gift, right? That was a service, and she was supposed to have paid for it.
That's a great point, Batya, especially because, these are the people, members of Congress like AOC, who aspire to write the rules for how the economy should work, right? Who have all these ideas about it being unequal and unfair and want to, restructure it and they don't even, in their personal lives, they forget to pay the bill. That doesn't inspire a lot of confidence, right? That these are the kinds of people who should craft the rules for how all economic transactions will work. I mean, the dress she was wearing there, right, literally said, tax the rich or eat the rich or do something unsavory with the rich. I don't know.
Right.
She's very.
It said tax the rich, and it's like, how about starting with paying your hairdresser, right?
Yeah.
Like, how about we just start with making sure that the working class people, the service industry people who wait on us, get their wages, right? There was something so ironic about that, and at the time, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Did you want to finish that
go
thought
for it.
before I
go
back
off
on my high horse? But at the time, I remember thinking, the funniest thing about this is she's wearing this dress that says tax the rich, as though tax the rich is a message that's going to offend all of these rich elites at the Met Gala, when the truth is the exact opposite. That message was her ticket of entree, because these people love paying high taxes because they are obscenely wealthy. They know there's something wrong with that, and they have absolutely no problem. They're someone like Anna Wintour, people who are very, very wealthy, who are in this kind of, creative celebutante world. They love paying high taxes because it allows them to feel like they are still, virtuous when they're living, in the clouds, like just astronomically above everybody who waits on them, right? So that farce of like, oh, I can.
It's like the medieval indulgence system for provided by the Catholic Church for wealthy people.
100%. Yeah. So I in general, I try to abstain from like overly criticizing Congresswoman AOC, because I feel that she gets a lot of undue attention. But in this case, I did think it was really important to point out that this is a person who's demanding money from millionaires and billionaires to pay the people that she wouldn't even pay when they were working on her. And it's a very personal labor as well, very personal service that really, there was something about that really I thought was worth highlighting and important.
It's just there are members of Congress, who have found out about a pandemic coming and called their stockbroker, who rail against big tech, but actually Nancy Pelosi's husband owns stock in Facebook. There are a lot of extremely serious, to my mind, ethical lapses going on in government and in Congress with who gets to make the rules and which industries they're beholden to or that they have vast power over. We've seen incredibly gross example after incredibly gross example, how House Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, sabotaged or wanted to sabotage the idea of preventing the stock trading at all. So I don't want to equate this with that. But I think it was worth talking about, and for exactly the reasons you brought up. There are working class people who deserve to get paid, and if you aspire, to tell everybody else how the economy should run, probably that should be a priority for you as well. But now she says, in fairness to her, she says it really just seems like there was a ball that was dropped. It's a deeply regrettable situation. I feel terrible for especially the small businesses that were impacted, and she has paid them now, but. That's that. So we'll have more Rising right after this. Stay tuned.